So they had Pepsi, and you know, Pepsi now is a sort of major vendor of salt and fat and sugar in India. But it was like aliens versus predator. I mean, you know, whoever won in that battle, Indians lost. And that's, I mean, that gives you a sense of the kinds of battle in which we find ourselves when it comes to the global food system. These mighty corporations are struggling for to get every penny that, you know, that is available to them, and they're not caring terribly much about the health consequences, despite what one reads. I mean, obviously there's a certain sort of PR weakness that you find with a lot of these firms. So you know, when people appealed to the Coca-Cola company, for example, to make their, you know, to saying, look, Coke isn't very good for you. You know, it can dissolve teeth, and it does all these horrible things, and you put Mentos in it, and you do all, and the Coca-Cola company said, well, no, that's fine, that's fine. We at the Coca company have something for you. What we're going to do, we're going to take the sugar out, and then we're going to add vitamins, and then we're going to call it Diet Coke Plus, and this is what everyone needs to drink. And Diet Coke Plus is the food industry's response to some of the, you know, to some of the outcry around the failure of the food industry to provide healthy and nutritious food. Diet Coke Plus. So you can drink Diet Coke. It's Diet Coke with vitamins, and that apparently is going to solve the problems that we face in the world today around hunger and obesity. Now, you know, there's something that's worth, you know, of that kind of deep failure to get it that you can find in other domains. So, for example, there's a sort of a new trend in the debate around genetically modified crops, and again, we can talk about this more in questions if you like. That says, look, around the world today, there are 1 million kids who are going blind because of vitamin A deficiency. And what we can do is fix that by genetically engineering crops. You know, what we're going to do is solve this vitamin A deficiency, which everyone agrees is awful, and we're going to fix it by adding vitamin A into rice. And this was the promise of something called golden rice, which was regular white rice, but spliced with genes from carrots to be able to produce this golden beta-carotene, this vitamin A. And so they tried it out, and the development specialists drove through villages in Southeast Asia, mainly with their jeeps, saying, "We have something terrific for you. This will solve vitamin A blindness. Just plant this, and everything will be great." So they tried out, and the first round, of course, is tough because it's, in order to get your recommended daily allowance, you need to eat 50 bowls of golden rice. So then they come back with version 2.0, which is only 2 bowls of rice, and then you got to think, well, you know, what's wrong with, you know, fixing this problem of hunger and malnutrition by engineering vitamin A into rice? And the problem, well, I mean, there are two things that are kind of weird here. I mean, you know, in the same way that it would be I mean, the reason that kids are going blind is not because they suffer a deficit of vitamin A in their rice. It's because the only thing that they can afford to eat is rice. You don't fix vitamin A blindness by just tweaking rice. You fix vitamin A blindness and a range of other things by fighting poverty. But vitamin A golden rice doesn't fix that. And in any case, the problem is that in Asia, golden rice is considered an inferior good. If it's golden, it's not white rice. And people like white rice. And there are cultural preferences that need to be respected that completely aren't when you're offering golden rice and telling people golden rice the way forward. I mean, it's like someone came to the United States and said, look, we have this amazing bread, and it'll help help tide you through some of the deficiencies that this recession is going to wreak on your bodies. And the only thing about this bread is that it's blue. And all of a sudden, blue bread for the poor in America. Because that'll help keep them straight. Of course, you can understand that there's something quite abhorrent about that. And yet when it's done to brown people, it's okay. And I think I mean, one ought to bear in mind that there is this kind of inbuilt prejudice when it comes to thinking about, well, you know, if they're poor in developing countries, they'll be fine with it. Because actually, cultural preferences matter a great deal. And I actually do think, you know, if someone wants to ask questions about that towards the end of the talk, we should.